that we went to Malvern, Philadelphia. I gave a nice talk. It was very nice. We thought since we are already in US, let's go to New York and see the city. So we went there. And in New York, there was New York Marathon was going on, so it was quite crowded. When we went to hotel, and our room was not ready. So we were waiting in the lobby, and they said, okay, it's a breakfast time, you go and have breakfast. So we went for the breakfast. Me, my daughter was there. My husband, he took his plate. And my daughter was 3 or 4 years old that time. So I went there and I was taking things in my plate, the food items. My daughter, she came and she pulled my dress. Amma, can you give me bread? One more bread, I like it. So I opened the cabinet, the transparent cabinet of bread, and I took one bread and gave her. The non-brown lady who was in front of me, who was ahead of me, she looked at me, took a tongue. This was her expression. And this is what the microaggression is all about. Very subtle way of hurting somebody, which is difficult to even articulate what exactly has happened. It's something like killing somebody with 1,000 paper cuts. And that's what we face every day. Has any one of you have faced this kind of aggression, which it's difficult? You feel you felt hurt. You feel that somebody has tried to put you down, but you don't know how to articulate it. You don't know how to talk about it. In 1970, at Harvard University, Dr. Pierce, he coined this term microaggression. Initially, when this term was coined, it was used for the black people, the insult and the aggression which black people face by non-black people. But later in 1976, it was broadly used for many other reasons, for the sexuality, for the gender, for the different religions, for anybody who is being insulted in a very subtle way. It is used. And every day I have like hundreds of stories which I have faced until, and I don't know how to talk about it until I started studying about microaggression. And it starts with very simple. Indian names are so difficult to pronounce. Is your skin brown like this, or do you get the suntan done? You are too good for being black. All these kind of things, like I have written something like Indian names are too difficult to pronounce. Are you pregnant? One day I was entering a lift and one lady stopped me and said, oh, are you pregnant? I said, no, I'm fat. I have the right to be fat, come on, I don't have to be pregnant all the time. So these are kind of things that ladies are not supposed to be fat. Either they have to be pregnant or they have to be slim. There is something in between also. But these are questions, these kind of questions I have seen a lot. And this is all microaggression. Why it is important to talk about it? Because I don't want anybody to be in a situation like me. I knew something is hurting me, but I don't know what exactly is there, how to articulate it. And these are some of the ways, criticizing the way they look, criticizing the way they talk, criticizing their names, all these things are microaggression. It could be gender, race, religious group, differently abled people, all these things. What does it do to our mind? If I face microaggression once in a day, that's okay. But if I face that once in a day for next 65 days, it will lead to damage my self-esteem. I'll start doubting myself. Am I really good enough or not? Like, am I worth enough that people will listen to me or not? I had this kind of fear for a long time to speak in front of anyone. It leads to depression, stress, anxiety, trauma, heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and in some cases to suicide also. So we have to talk about it because it's extremely subtle, but its damage is extremely big. What does it do? There are 3 types of microaggressions are there. One is deliberate. That is a micro assault. We are intentionally trying to hurt someone by using some words. Another is micro insult. And the next one is micro invalidation, which is sometimes unconsciously people do that. Micro assault, using the words like, this is too hard for you, means we are trying to tell somebody you're not intelligent enough to do that. It is, stop being so emotional. We are trying to say that I'm more emotionally mature than you. That's what. Wow, majoring computer science is pretty great for girls. Means it's a gender bias we are having. We are saying, who do you serve? Why do you sound white? Means the black people or brown people can't sound like white people. It's a different thing. You're pretty for being a black girl. Are you the new diversity hire? All these are very subtle form of micro assault. Intentionally, we are trying to hurt someone. The next is micro insult. I remember when I was like working with one of the companies and we had the performance management goal and we set it, He gave me the goals, which was impossible to achieve because there was no budget for it. And there was no way that I could say no. So when I asked him, what should I do with it? He just did like this. It's your wish, you want to do, otherwise don't do it. He has approved it that this is the goal. Without budget, how am I going to do that? Right, $1 million I cannot bring from my pocket for the company. But that's what it is. Intentionally insulting somebody, hurting somebody, and making sure they don't get things done. This is micro insult. And the next is micro invalidation. Have you ever seen that when you are in a meeting and you're not even being noticed there, people are just ignoring, like if you are there or if you leave, it doesn't make any difference. We ignore people. We just don't make eye contact. If I'm looking at you and I'm not making eye contact with you, but I'm looking at everybody else, means I'm ignoring you. I'm invalidating what you're saying. If you're saying something else, that's okay. And I move to next person. This is a micro invalidation. And it happens a lot in our workplace, the outside market where we go in society, every time. These are very subtle way of hurting somebody, putting somebody's self-esteem down. Microaggression could be non-verbal as well. For example, just rolling your eyes, you're saying something and I do like this. Okay, move to next person. There's a microaggression and you can't even define what exactly has happened with you. If you're speaking and I say, yeah, that's fine, yeah, what you were saying, please tell me. That's a microaggression because we are trying to put someone down. And all these things we need to talk to our colleagues, our children, because they may be facing in school which we don't know and they don't know how to articulate it. What can we do when we are at giving end? We should not do microaggression with anybody. I might have done which I did not realize it until I studied microaggression. What are the 3 ways of doing it? The first is what is your intention? Before doing any act, think what is our intention exactly. Do we really want to do this or we are doing because we have some subconscious biases, that's why we are doing it. Second is impact. Maybe my intention is good, but the way I am doing, is it going to make the right impact or not? If it's not making the right impact, I need to change the way I communicate. Because remember one thing, communication is not about what I say. Communication is about how you receive it. If I don't speak the language you want to hear, it's not a right communication, right? So what impact it is going to make. And the third most important thing, what impression it creates around the people, those who are watching it. Will they be happy to see it? Will they learn something good? Or will they be thinking that it's not the right way of doing things? So what impression we are creating in society? Because our children and other people learn by seeing us. So what impression we are creating? And the most important thing, I have heard this so many times, people say, my intention was right, but it's your problem, you did not understand it. Remember one thing, intent do not supersede impact. Your intention may be the best, but still you have hurt the person, so you have to fix it, right? So intention is less important than your impact, what you're making. What can we do if we are at the receiving end of microaggression? I wish I would have known this 20 years back. My life would have been much better because I did not know about all these things and I was speechless. When my boss did like this, I don't know what to do. And I did not even know how to approach HR and talk about it. They'll say, okay, did he say something? Did he do something? No. They just did like this. And I don't know. Like sitting in a meeting room and if 20 people, 10 people are there, 8 are talking in one language you don't understand. And you're simply sitting and looking around everybody. And they're intentionally talking in a language which you don't understand. How do you feel? Do you feel micro-invalidated? That they are ignoring you. They don't even recognize that you are sitting there and you don't follow what they are talking about. I have faced this for years. And I know it really hurts. It feels like, what the hell I'm doing in a meeting? Let me go out then if you don't need me. So what can we do about it? First thing is speak up. We have to talk about it, even if we don't know the term. Talk about it, say that this is what that person did, that was a body language, I felt hurt, I don't know why. Because if you're not speaking, it will damage your self-esteem. That's like the same thing I'll repeat, death by 1,000 cuts of paper. We don't want that. Every day small cut is happening in our soul. Say, ask them question, this is extremely powerful. Ask them question, how? How do you feel about it? The moment you ask that question, other person was not expecting it. They will realize what mistake they have done. I will tell you a true incident. We were in Switzerland and we were going by Eurorail somewhere and my husband booked the first class ticket of the train, so we were sitting there. One non-brown person was there. I'm very conscious of using the terms. One non-brown person was there. And when he looked at us, my daughter was very young, again 3 or 4-year-old. So she was just making noise, keeping the bag and all. And by the time we were settling, he said, excuse me, the second class is there. Usually I don't answer back, but that day my first question was, what makes you feel that we don't have the first class ticket? And because he was not expecting that answer, he was like, no, actually I don't know. I said, no, I need to know now. What makes you feel that I don't have the first class ticket? Do you think brown people can't buy a first class ticket? No, I don't mean it and all that. But the moment you question them how, they will realize what mistake they have done. And after 2 hours of our journey, when we got down, he apologized and like we were okay with that. So you have to ask the question, you did like this, I don't understand, what does it mean by it? I wish I would have asked that person that question. Interrupt and ask underlying assumption. What makes you feel that? What is the assumption you are making, right? Ask that question and speak to your HR, your leaders, whosoever is the head of the unit. Like Christina said, I love it, that we are there to solve your